All right.
Yeah, welcome back. Last week's episode was not recorded, so it's in our minds. We talked a lot about EVs, which wasn't Lucas's favorite topic anyways. One of my favorite topics. So, by the way, one of our uh, kid friends, he is working for a new shop who is converting gas cars and
Mm,
Vespas. So all of that's happening.
that's pretty
Pretty
cool.
cool, pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, I watched a YouTube yesterday. This guy took an old Leaf, one of those really old ones. They still run, but they have no range, right? I mean, they're down to like 60 miles. And you can put a brand spanking new 62 kilowatt battery in there, the one I have for 250-mile range.
Yeah.
And so you have a new car and it's free, you
Wow,
know.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so anyways, last night I was working with Chad and I was looking at the gas stove and I was thinking, okay, I know that the flame is blue because the flame of the gas is blue because it burns at a higher um, temperature, which allows for what, do you know?
So the higher temperature allows for what? Or the
Yeah, that's my question. So basically, the flame is blue and not yellow because obviously blue is a higher energy than yellow, right? So there's some tremendous differences here, which I didn't know. So, I mean, you know what's happening when you see color? Electrons are
yeah, yeah.
jumping
Well, I
between
mean,
orbitals, right?
well, I don't know what that means.
You know what an electron orbital is.
I know what an electron is. I probably know what an electron orbital is. Like you're talking about like
Uh,
its state, like its anatomy.
So this is something everybody needs to know because it applies to humans as well, right? So anyways, there's shells around each atom. And which one's good? I like it just with the regular ring structure. Maybe I just do images. So you can just picture these electrons being stuck in certain distance around the atom, the nucleus. It's because the energy, I mean, basically the farther away, here it is. You see this?
Yeah, that's what I
Uh,
assumed. That
yeah, so
let the
the
records be
farther
known. I
away
knew
the
that.
electron is from, ooh,
Yeah, the further away it is what is it? More
more
powerful,
energy, right?
more energy. Yeah.
It
Okay.
just takes energy to bring it farther away from the positive.
Yeah.
And so bigger atoms, especially like radioactive ones, they have so many orbitals that they're so unstable. And it's only the outer orbitals that form the covalent bonds, right? So it gets a little more complicated. That's probably in this video because electrons don't fly around in rings. They basically fly around in these clouds, and they have spins and all of that. But that's besides the point. So the main point here is that the electron. Let's go back to this picture here. Jumps from a lower to a higher orbital, absorbing energy, and when it falls back to that inner orbital, that's when it emits the light. So
Okay.
that fallback has to be released, right? There's energy being absorbed physically by the electron, and then it basically falls back and it has to emit it. And sometimes that's done as heat and sometimes as light. So anyway, so the gas flame from propane or methane has a very high energy, very high temperature. So that allows for that blue light. And you can calculate all of these quantum jumps too. So then, but he was talking about, basically the yellow flame is incandescence. So what the heck? So that has nothing to do with electron jumps. It's actually a very different process, sort of like heat. And so when you take a metal ball and you heat it up, it keeps that heat. Why? Because the atoms in there vibrate or oscillate, and that's why warm water oscillates more, and then eventually the water molecules will evaporate when they have enough oscillation that they separate from each other. So in the incandescence is the same thing, and that's what's happening with the soot. So when you have a basic yellow flame, that's just unburned carbon when it's not completely burning. So the whole chemical reaction is incomplete. There's leftover carbon, and then it has to basically become soot, and that soot then can turn yellow, and that's oscillation. Sort of the same thing as in a light bulb, and that's called incandescence. And I didn't really fully understand that difference. So anyways, then I ask another question. So, that was what I was just talking about, that again, so the blue flame is when there's actually an electron jump, but the yellow flame, like in fire, is from actual orbital, from oscillation heat.
Mm-hmm.
So then I asked, I still don't understand how the vibration of oscillation can produce enough energy in the visible light range. So I think I partially explained that already, but the oscillation basically is more in the electromagnetic radiation field, whereas the the electron jumps, they're actually quantum. So there's just one energy boom that happens, right? So when you have oscillation, you can have all kinds of spectrums of heat. That's why you see orange to red. But when you have just blue, there's just one boom. Or like the uh, the light on the some of the lights, the yellow lights on the street, they're
Mm-hmm.
nature sodium bulbs actually. So there's just one frequency, and that's a quantum jump, right? Yeah, so then I asked them, how do you get green light? And obviously, bigger atoms like copper, they have a very different jump. So they have more shells, and on the outer shells, that's a little bit less energy than the blue. So that quantum jump basically produces green, and then barium is another example. So he says the physical and chemical environment of the atom can shift the energy levels as well. So when you have, like sodium chloride, right? It burns in different colors when you throw it into the flame. So when they actually interact with each other, they change the shells, right? And the electron energy when they interact with each other than when it's just pure sodium or pure chloride. So all of those things matter. But then I was thinking, okay, so why do we even see colors, right? And why are there only three primary colors? I
Well,
didn't.
all the other colors are made from the three primary
Yeah,
colors.
but why?
Why do only three exist?
Why are there only three
Because
primary colors?
we experience these colors based on what we can perceive,
Yeah,
and what we can perceive is only things made up of those three colors.
yeah. So we have only three cones, three different type of cones, and they're actually different length. So
Mm-hmm.
the longer they are, the longer wavelengths they can absorb, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking. So three different cones, red, blue, and green. And those are the RBG colors. And that's why for us humans, there are only three primary colors. Everything has to be mixed out of that. So it's a completely physical eye thing. The retina is made out of these three cones, and that's it. Everything else has to be computed. So obviously, so here it says the long wavelength is perceived as red, and those are probably the long cones, right? Because they need more time to excite, less energy. Yeah, and so then and then by the way, so the three primary colors for painting are opposite, because when you see, like, let's see, you see a red apple, right? What
Hmm.
happens in the red apple?
Oh, be more specific. What do you mean?
So you don't see the red light being reflected. You see, well, exactly. I mean, all the wavelength from the white light from the sun get absorbed, and only red remains, and
Right,
that's what
right,
you
right.
see reflected. So they call it a subtractive color. Uh, like I said, because the other ones get subtractive. And so the subtractive color model that you know from painting has different colors, red, blue, and yellow. So our rods are RGB, but the painting colors, when you mix them together, are RB and Y. So I didn't know that either. I thought that was interesting. Of course, a painter might know that. So then I asked, other animals have more than three cones, right? And they certainly do. So what
Right.
is this here? The mantis shrimp has 16 types of photoreceptor cells, 12 for color, and the other three for color filtering. And they can even detect polarized light. How amazing is that, huh? You know what polarized light is, right? So the wave can turn 360 degrees, and when it hits water, only the ones that reflect this way horizontally go up. That's why you get burned on the sea, because
Yeah.
the surface is basically reflecting only light in this plane, and it's much stronger. So that's polarized light, and
So
sometimes.
so it's directed light, like light filtered into one beam, like
So
one direction.
laser light, for example, is polarized just by the definition, because it only gets excited in one plane. The sunlight is 360 degrees, but when it hits the water surface, you only see the leftover plane that comes up this way, and that's what's called polarized. And so also when you wear polarized glasses, um, you can see in the car, your car windows polarized.
Hmm.
And so that's why you see those lines in the car windows where it gets canceled out, then where you can't see any light. You know what I'm talking about? These streaks.
No.
You don't have polarized sunglasses?
I don't know.
Well, you should try it out sometime. Get polarized sunglasses, and then go in your car, and especially the side windows, when the sun comes in at an angle, you
Yeah.
see black streaks, and that's because basically the window is polarizing, and it gets canceled out with your sunglasses, and then it's black basically. So anyways, I thought that was really cool. And so these animals, dogs have only two. What does it say here? Dogs, for instance, have only blue and yellow. So they don't have any ability to see red. So that's probably also why they are a little confused sometimes. Their vision is bad.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting. What do you think?
No, that is very interesting.
So
Yeah,
then,
I would
so
have
then,
thought that the polarized light, I mean, I guess maybe I'm just not understanding it 100%, but like if the
okay,
polarized
let me
why does the
just,
polarized light sunburn you have a higher chance of giving you a
it's
sunburn
like
because
a
it's like
laser.
directed into like
So
it's
all
like
that energy goes into one plane, and it turns into a laser.
okay, all right, that makes sense. So if you had the same amount of energy but on every plane, then that would be stronger and sunburn you faster, right? Give you a faster or worse sunburn.
Well, let's just ask chat. Where the heck are you? Where did you go? I have to log in. So I put everything under one uh, under one chat, and it takes a long time to load up now. But I want him to kind of get a relationship with me. So then obviously I have a different chat for my books. So each book has a different chat, right?
Sure.
Why is water reflected polarized light so strong?
It's taking a while.
Yeah, it's GPT-4 and it's often overloaded.
Oh, okay. Do you find any differences? I've never used
Oh yeah, yeah.
GPT-4. It's better?
You want to be serious about this, you use GPT-4. Okay, so strong polarized reflecting is due to the Brewster angle. Polarization has a wavelength polarized direction. When the light hits the surface, it can split into two components. One that is parallel and one that is perpendicular. I need to move
Right,
the,
so not all of the light is going into p polarized light.
hang on, I need to move this, it's in my way here. Darn bar, okay.
So the light's getting split in half, so why would it be stronger? I think it's just double. I don't think it's strong, I think it's double. I think you're getting hit from the sunlight and then the sunlight also that's getting reflected. But we'll let you read this here for a second. It's definitely an interesting topic too. Like I always like to think if you ever heard the theory like and it could be disproven maybe, but that like everyone has a different like color like for instance like your black could be my gray or my like blue or red or pink and it could like be completely swapped so like our worlds could look completely different but every time we point to black it's looks like black for you so I can corroborate it and we think we're looking at the same color but then you could be like oh well you could be like black's a dark color and if your black looked like my pink or sorry if your black looked like pink for me then if I said black's a dark color, then you would be like, no, black's a light color because pink is a light color, right? But your perception of what's light and what's dark, I mean, I guess that's kind of disproves it,
Okay,
but
so
you could,
first of all, black is not a color, right? So
okay.
black means that the surface, if it exists, and I actually have that in my chat too, um, is there's certain, here, how about black, right? So black objects don't reflect, so they basically absorb everything, and it has to turn into heat, right? Not into light or into invisible. And so basically, there's how can substance absorb all light to be black? So the closest we've come to creating perfect black object is Vanta black, 99.965%. So the most black you see, they have a hue, like you said, it's pink or something like that. And also depends on the angle then, because there's probably some polarization too. So, and the surface, is it metal? Is it cloth, whatever it is, right? So, yeah, does that answer your question?
No. I think, I mean, which you're talking about my question about the theory where our worlds could look completely different. Like,
Yeah, so you different angle, and then you see a different polarization.
no,
That's-
I mean like literally like if I like this is like gray and then this is like a green, right?
hmm.
Like these could be swapped for us, and we would pretty much have like no idea, no way to really tell. Like the way your world looks, mine, like you're looking at this as this color, but that this color could be this for me, and we'd have no idea to prove it because like everything, like there's no way to like objectively prove it. Like that colors
Oh, I
aren't the
see
same
what
for
you're
everyone.
saying. So, the label
It's all
uh,
relative to
is
us,
just a label. I saw there's no way to prove that you're seeing the same red as I do.
right? Yeah,
So, I
it's
mean,
all
if I
relative.
if I hold up this pin, what color is it?
It's red,
Yeah, so
right?
I've just proven that it's the same for us.
No, you've just proven that that is red for okay.
I know. So
You're
somebody
smarter than
told
that.
you that this looks like red, but
Yeah.
there's no proof that we see the same red.
Yeah.
But the proof is basically if you analyze the cones
Hmm.
that gets excited.
Yeah.
And there's probably ways of doing that. I mean, you can definitely do that in animal experiments where you excite the certain cones or in tissue culture. And
Yes.
then it still comes down to computing, and that's probably not easy. So, but if the cone that absorbs the long wavelength red gets excited, then we can prove that both you and I have the same idea of red. But in the end,
Hmm. Hmm.
there's an image, and that image could be different. Yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah, because yeah, you also just because that cone's getting excited doesn't mean that your brain is showing it to you in the same way.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, the next question was how can a black hole absorb light? And, a very interesting question. And they call it the point of no return. So he keeps on talking about black holes. Obviously, uh, they don't suck up everything. You have to get close to the black hole, but it's a giant mass of gravity that absorbs all light. So, according to Einstein and its general relativity, mass warps the space and time, and we've talked about that. So, you can't really put your hand on a particular piece of space and call it at the same time. You have to choose between time and space. And that's a little hard for us to understand, but what they're picturing is, you have a bowling ball on a tarp or, a trampoline. And so that big bowling ball basically is that black hole. And now everything that once you start getting sucked into that, um, what is the uh, trapezoid slope, you basically get absorbed by the black hole, but you have to get close enough to it. And we don't know anything about it, nor do we know anything about gravity. So Einstein said that they're all related: space, time, light, electromagnetic can be energy and it can be mass at the same time. We don't fully understand that either. That's Heisenberg. So in any case, I obviously asked it if it's just a big mass or is it a portal to another universe, because we don't know what's on the other side. And he said that when matter falls into a black hole, it adds to the hole's mass
Hmm.
after you pass that event horizon. And we don't know if there's wormholes or anything like that beyond it.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's a wormhole, then you're leaving to a different place. So how are you still adding to how would you add to the mass of the black hole and make it bigger, right?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I need to ask him if somebody has measured adding something to a black hole, and I seriously doubt it. No, wait.
No, we
They
can't.
see supernovas getting absorbed by black holes, right?
No, but it doesn't get absorbed all the way. At least from what we'd have observed, because it takes so long. It's like it's beyond the scope of our human existence.
Uh,
As far as as far as I know. I mean, like I'm pretty sure it's just like nothing. Everything is what we know is nothing when what we know about black holes. Because didn't they
so
find out recently that there's some that like move a lot faster and like going in reverse? Have you heard about that?
that's maybe what you the spaghettification.
Yeah,
So,
maybe.
and that's the space-time continuum. So when you get close to the black hole, all the physics law that we encounter break down. And so you see everything getting stretched into nothing, because at that time when you observe it, it doesn't actually exist in space anymore because a black hole doesn't have any space, right? So that's where it gets really confusing for everyone. So I think it's definitely possible to see things getting reversed, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, then he says gravity is not a force between two masses, as Newton said, but it's a curvature of space, right? So the more curved that trampoline space is, the more
Yeah,
gravity. So
that
it's
makes more sense.
there's not actually a force. There is a general understanding of how things move through space in different curvatures, and that's dependent on their mass and energy. So that's relativity. It's something we can't understand because we're stuck in the 3 dimensions and all we see is an apple fall to the ground. That's what Newton saw. But the time definitely changes. We talked about that. When you get farther away from the planet, time slows down and all of that. They have proven that.
Time relative to the planet slows
Yeah.
down.
I mean, time relative to the observer that's stuck on the earth, right?
Right.
Yeah, so ultimately, nature of gravity and how it fits in with the other fundamental forces of the universe, like electromagnetism, is still a subject of ongoing research and remains one of the great unsolved problems in theoretical physics. So nobody has any clue what gravity is really, other than this idea of the relativity of space and time curvature. So as the same time that nobody has an idea what time is, right? Time doesn't exist as we spoke about it last time. So that's where, consciousness will come in again. Then, the human body is mostly air in this space-time continuum. Atoms are 99% air. There is no mass. And you basically are floating through this energy continuum on this curved space. So it's crazy stuff. But where does the consciousness fit into that? And once we start traveling, at hyper speeds, whatever, what happens to gravity and consciousness when we basically trick time? Those are topics that at some point, maybe even in your lifetime, will become apparent. It's not just science fiction, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think what it really is we're in a simulation and this isn't real. And the people who were
That's a
the
cop out.
people
I
who are
mean,
playing us, they know what time is. I mean, think about it. You woke up, you were unconscious last night, and you woke up today and just assumed true all the memories you had in the past.
yeah, I mean, we are memory computers for sure, but there is a way of communicating with the universe and being part of it. I actually should read the introduction here too. Um,
Yeah, it's
pineal
interesting to
gland
think
is
about. What's that?
pineal gland is another interesting. So um, it's the unique arrangement of these particles that give matter its structure and properties. So yeah, the wave particle dualism at a fundamental level means that everything is a complex manifestation of energy and information. So we're just spiritual information floating through time.
Well, why is that spiritual?
Because I mean, spiritual to me basically just means it's something we can't see, that we can't manifest in our 3Ds, but a spiritual person has, with this right brain, has access to the universe, to God, however you want to call it, and you can make things happen. We know that we can influence this world through that realm, and there is other dimensions around us, at least 7 other dimensions that we can influence with that spirituality. So simply, again, it's just a way of communicating with the universe other than with vocal voice chords in written language based on left brain logic. So, which is, helpful if you want to plan what's for dinner or the next vacation. But other than that, it's just nonsense. How many thoughts? 60,000 thoughts a day, just repetitive nonsense over and over and over. Um, you're a slave of your left brain. It's
Hmm.
not useful. Spirituality, turning off those thoughts, is what really counts.
Yeah, I mean, just being present and paying attention to what's going on inside.
Yeah, and so the topic of consciousness, what that is, the universe, and how it is manifested, we all have that collective human consciousness. That's the key of understanding our own purpose and why we're here, and maybe even reincarnation, you name it. So, where are we going?
Yeah.
Very
See,
good topic also is NDEs, right? Near death experiences.
yeah,
There's a bunch of YouTubes out there, something maybe for next time.
yeah. I see. Like, I struggle with this topic kind of times because I definitely have like I definitely fall under the determinism philosophy. Like, I don't think it helps me. I think I'm young and naive enough to where I could like pretend to believe that not believe in it. Every time I like logically think about it, I guess left brain, I can't disprove the determinism like philosophy theory. Like everything and the way I relate it to is like social heredity. Like I mean if you like if so you don't choose to be born, that's not your choice. That was predetermined. You're born and then everything else from there on is based on genetics, predetermined, and your social heredity. And every free choice that you made is like there's some chance to it, right? Like you're rolling the dice. Like I chose to wear this shirt today at a pretty random choice, but that's all still based on my social heredity. Like in every choice, everything I'm saying, every time I bring this up, everything I do in life, and so it's like it's bad for me because it feels like it makes me feel like I have no control because it's but then I'm just like okay, I'm just lucky that I feel like I'm living a good life and doing good things.
So,
Um,
what are you so afraid about learning about your right brain?
I'm not afraid of about learning my brain. Give me a refresher, like just like the like what is it like the creative side, like or are you just relating to
Well, you
the like
just basically
spirituality?
said there is no spiritual component to humanity, and we're just a bunch of random events by choice. Uh,
It's not necessarily that. Like I have emotions and I have spiritual feelings and things of that sort. It's just you can't prove to me that like you like the I think that there's definitely an illusion of free will. I don't think that there's choice. I don't think it exists. I think I live 99% of my life thinking have free choice, but I don't think it actually exists. So it's not helpful to me when I think about it. So most of the time I just carry on choosing to do things. But I think if you think about it, it can't be proven that you actually have a choice that's free of influence, that you yourself, your consciousness is choosing something. It's all based on things you're influenced by in the past.
yeah, I mean, you can define what a miracle is, levels of miracles. And people have come together in groups of 10, hundreds, thousands and meditated, and they've changed events and called it a miracle.
Right.
And
So, but you could just say that was all because of they grew up and they were not chose to be born. They didn't choose to be, come in this world, and then they went to church or something, and then that's what made them group up together, or like that's just their society. Like though maybe like 50 of those people decided to do it, and they influenced the other, 950, and those 50 people only did it because of something else that influenced them. Or maybe they had some beam of light, some consciousness of spirituality or whatever, and chose to do it, and I'm wrong. But
well, it's a very, very interesting topic. And I understand the non spiritual perspective but I've seen the other side. Um, when you what basically, I think we all have an understanding of what's a random effect and what just cannot be chance. I mean, it's, when you see 1 in a million, 1 in a 10 million chance, and you see that over and over and over in a row, there is just not enough time in a human life to experience those chances. And that's basically what I'm talking about. When you start paying attention to the signs, you can influence everything. So, in other words, uh, usually the negative reverse happens with everybody. So, like there's a saying, there's no accident. So,
Hmm.
people who end up in a car accident or in whatever accident, and I caused my own bicycle accident, by the way, they are stuck in a negative thought pattern where the universe supported them into getting into that accident. So it's
Yeah.
really difficult to actually get into a positive mindset. And that all takes training. It takes a lot of effort. And I've been on this road for,
Hmm.
at least 20 years. Um, After my boss told me I'm too negative, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm German. I criticize everything. That's German engineering. That's positive for us, but I
Uh-huh.
got the point. You're addicted to negativity because you're always right. So
Yeah.
you don't like it. And negativity sticks to your brain because that's how we're evolutionary wired. We're basically negative because we are in need of staying away from danger. It's just a survival thing. If you are in a dangerous situation over and over, you know how to avoid it, and so that sticks to your brain. Whereas the positive things, there's no need to spend time on it. They just go through. So no, you have to train your brain over and over to create those positive images, and you can even create positive dreams, and you can discard nightmares. uh, you just need to talk to your right brain. There's a way of accessing it, and that's what Silva talks about. And
Hmm.
it's definitely a tool. So interestingly, I talked to my other Zurich friend the other day on WhatsApp, and he says, "Oh, I've been to blah 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 India meditation group, so and so, and there is no way you can think yourself out of a problem with your own mind, and the mind only gets ruled by thoughts." Okay, fine. Do we
He,
want to live that way?
your
Fine.
friend said that?
Huh?
Your
Yeah.
friend? Oh, okay.
And he said he spent X amount of time in India at retreats, blah blah blah. And so actually Silva, again, I've been trying to have you read it so we can talk about the issues here, said that it's not meditation. It's not. I mean, you are basically actively influencing your habits and your surroundings. Meditation is just trying to turn off your left brain. It's hard work.
Right. 100%.
I
So,
don't know. I mean, I'm not a meditation guru. I can just tell you, I went to this 10-day retreat. I left after 6 days because
right.
I thought it was BS. But then they say, oh, you just have to bite through it. And I just missed the point. Okay, fine. Maybe I'm not there yet.
Didn't you say you saw like stay in the clouds, or did you say like you see
Oh,
leave?
I saw all kinds of signs. And, if you pay attention, you see the signs. You just have to pay attention.
Yeah, but there's no way that the clouds said stay. I don't believe you. I mean, I think it's great. I think more spiritual people, more right brain people, you're gonna be happier. Even like as the more I delve into
If
the
you are
left
in a
side.
spiritual place, in a very that place was spiritual, right? So there's a lot of people with high intensity right brain function. You actually can create a whole different reality than when you are, let's say, in a mega party disco in Berlin where everybody is full of drugs.
Hmm. Yeah. So but is
So I'm telling you, I saw 3 signs consecutive in 3 days. So I asked, how do I really need to experience this pain, right? So then I lay there looking at the scars. We had time out. I just lay there looking at the I do this a lot, like cloud watching is fun. I've seen a million
yeah,
clouds in
yeah,
my life, right?
yeah.
But you tell me this is impossible. The first cloud, nothing, just a cloud, turned into an S. The second cloud, nothing, turned into a T. The third cloud was a clear A, with a bridge and everything. I'm like, wow, this is spooky. If there's going to be a Y, no, I'm a believer. And there was a Y.
Okay, and you said, well, first of all, you said it yourself. You said impossible, but put that out to the side. So you're a believer. Believer in what? Believer that clouds are magic, or if
Well,
you
that I can
meditate for
talk to the
6 days,
universe.
you really you believe that?
Yeah.
So what are some other ways you've communicated or talked to the universe?
It's very simple prayer. Just simply not reacting,
Yeah.
absorbing, and making sure that you're actually picking up on the signs. So making sure you're actually using your senses. I mean, most people just think 60,000 thoughts, and just burn from one event to the next, from one car ride to the next, blah blah blah. You
Yeah.
know, uh, your own judgment of what's happening next, and you don't experience any senses, period. And then you use drugs and alcohol, and so you can. What does Eckert say about that?
Oh,
It's not. It's not. No, it's not between thoughts. It's below thought. He calls it below
oh
thought.
yeah, yeah. You could rise above thought or rise below thought.
Yeah.
That was like when I heard that. If people listening don't know that was it in his in a New Earth or the other
No, it's
one?
just on his general podcast. I
Well,
mean, he talks about.
it's in one of his books as well. He
Yeah.
mentions it multiple times. Anyways, when he said
He
that,
really literally only says 2 or 3 things in the different ways over and over and
he's
over.
really good. He
So,
helps me a lot. But
yeah, so you're on the first step
when
of.
he said that, I was like, if I ever saw a seminar from him, I would ask that question if he could go more in depth on what he meant about that. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, well, the whole point is you cannot understand it. You can only
Right,
experience it.
right.
So,
That's my issue is
so what does Silva talk about? That's my question for you the next time. Because how do you experience that? What is their precedence? I'm not going to say it right now. I want you to tell me next time.
I mean, what do you mean? What do you experience? Like you're experiencing
Okay, I'm
the
gonna
present moment.
I think we're gonna end this now, and you tell me next time, what is the basis of Silva method? You just watch a YouTube. You don't need to buy the book. Go on their website, whatever. Tell me what it is the next time, and tell me whether it's bullshit or there's some truth to it.
I mean, I'm sure there's some truth to it. It's just I think there's alternate realities that you can believe in to help guide you and keep you more positive. Like you say, like if you're focusing on the positive things and like
Yeah, but there's a very physical
that
thing you can measure, and that's what they're
there's a
talking about.
scientific way to prove everything that
Yeah,
you're talking about.
they can
So
prove
to
it.
me that doesn't make it spiritual. I mean, it's whatever. It's I'm also very young too. Like my philosophies change like year to year, you know. So like I'm still figuring things out. But right now I'm pretty set in this, unfortunately. But all right,
Anyways, I
I'll
mean,
answer the question.
I really think we need to talk about it in detail because it's so good. And am I an expert? No way. I mean, I am just a baby when it comes to this stuff. And am I enlightened? No way I'm enlightened. I
Okay.
basically, struggle 95% of the time, and 5% of the time I have a little bit of a clue. That's all there's to it. But it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. Can you
So,
you pull up the Silva method in case anyone's watching, and then we can end it.
oh, well, yeah, I mean, silver
Google it
method.
so people know what you're talking about. Shout out to Naveed. He wanted to watch this, so maybe we'll see if
It's
he
very
gets this
simple,
far.
silver method. So I would just recommend getting a couple books on audio first and listen to them
A
two or
couple,
three
there's
times.
different books. There's
Oh, he's
like a
got a
series.
dozen books, yeah. But
Okay.
so you don't need to go and to these events and seminars
This
yet.
looks like some Scientology stuff, some sort of cultish money making scheme.
Yeah, and I'm telling you that unless you study the Bible and you have a very clear understanding of Revelations, you will not understand that sentence that you just spoke. So this is beyond. You have to experience it, and you have to experience Revelations. There's no way around it. Bottom
Okay.
line is, you have to make up your mind. You can't just go through life and saying I'm an atheist and everything spiritual is bullshit. No, you have to make up your mind.
Yeah,
So
I know. It's not like I clearly have to look into this more and leave that space open because I think I'm wrong. I'm definitely wrong. It's just I haven't like
no,
made my
you're not
mind up
wrong.
in a clear way.
You're just right in your way. There is no right or wrong. It's all just on a scale.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like yeah. It's just a lot of stuff that we don't know that like we can never
But
know.
that again, it's about you can't know it. You can only open your eyes, open your senses, your smell, and you can experience it. And that's why we're human. You cannot know that. Your left brain will not know that. It will always tell you 100% of the time that this is coincidence. I live in a simulation. This is another religious cult. That's what it does all day long. But you
And
can experience it and you can see the different truth if you open up your senses. So that's what makes us different, and that's why we're not robots. So.
so that's what the right brain does, and the Silva method helps you tap into that. So did I
Yeah.
already answer the question? Do I have to listen to the
Yeah.
book now?
I mean, you have a valid point, which is, is this another way of brainwashing, right? And uh, you have to make up your mind um, where you're going with this, and what your value of truth is. So your mind is definitely not just a series of 60,000 useless thoughts. Oh, the air conditioning is too low. So
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, even if that is the case, at the very least, it's not like this is ruining your life. This seems like it's helping you a lot. And like the whole point of this life, I agree with you, is to experience, to breathe, to smell, to feel, to be here. And it seems like that's helping you a lot to enjoy that more positively and to be more conscious of
yeah.
it. So that's gonna make your life overall.
So all of those topics are very, very important for general uh, life enjoyment. And the left brain is your ego. So your ego, what does your ego want? It wants to stay alive. It's
Hmm.
all about survival, 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 right? So as soon as somebody comes at you, you're like, ugh. And I need to preserve my ego, my ideas, and this is there's only one way, and it's my highway. And basically, once you start opening up, that's when you have access to the other portal, the
When
other
you're
side.
when you're vulnerable and you like take a step
It's
outside
not
and look.
necessarily vulnerable, it's actually stronger.
Well, you said when you fair enough.
I don't know. I mean, think about this a bit, and
No, no,
let's
yeah,
reconvene and talk about what consciousness is. I think it's one of the most fascinating topics, and that's what Eckert talks about, right?
yeah.
So you are aware of this thought. That's all there is. There
Mm,
is no Thomas. There's only the awareness of it. That's what consciousness is.
hmm
Anyways, um, it's definitely
So the fact that we're aware means that we're conscious, and then like I am the awareness of this right now. So therefore I can choose and I can experience.
no, you don't really. I don't know about that. I haven't put those two together. The main point here really is that there's a separation of the awareness and the ego. So you grow up and you learn, oh, me, this is my metal ball. I am Thomas with the metal ball, and that's your
Hmm
ego. And so I'm Thomas the acupuncturist, blah blah blah. Um, that's just all very good and dandy, but that's not life. The life happens completely on another level. And again, next time tell me what's the key point here, and we'll talk about that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, well, thank you, and
Yep.
hopefully this recording worked, and
Yeah, hopefully. I didn't
it
record
wasn't
last
it wasn't
week's
worth saving.
accident.
That's why it didn't work last time. So
I felt like it was pretty good, but yeah, this has
no,
been
it
a better
wasn't worth
conversation.
saving. There's a reason.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Okay.
Okay,
All
see
right.
you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.